get it started. I do love that intro. It's on the most recent episode, right, of Double Team. And when we went from the cold open into that like the start of what's his name, John Michael Higgins. And then like when I hear I get fucking excited. I was like, oh yes, this is the one. And God, that's good. That is good.
And then that beat building, like it's fun.
It gets it started.
It does get it started.
It gets it started. I enjoy all the cameos from, like, I don't know. Maybe it was just me. I really enjoy when I hear other people's voices who have been guests on the show.
Yeah.
Like,
Chef,
hearing Ian.
Yeah.
Hearing,
the alcohol segregationist. Yeah.
Yeah. He says it with such pride too.
It's not this one, but I like the when Brad says the John Madden or John Gruden emails. Yeah.
Zach's just got Madden on the brain since the Cage
Dude,
announcement.
are you kidding me? Oh my God. I cannot wait
John
for that.
Madden email would just say, boom.
Yeah, it's a turducken.
John Madden types like Sylvester Stallone in Assassins.
Oh my God. No, he I think John Madden types like fucking MVP would or Ed. I don't like John Madden's got heavy fingers.
I mean, yeah.
Heavy fingers.
He was the no lineman, right? Back in the day.
So.
Wait, hold on. You guys have John Madden typing? He would even get on a plane.
I know.
Well, he doesn't have a fear of computers.
The premise was the John Madden email of movies.
Yeah.
That was what Zach misspoken said. So I was riffing. Yeah. I was yes-anding. I was building off of Zach's initial joke.
Amin will often marvel at Andrew Santino's yes-and ability. And I just wonder, but nothing comes through, huh?
No, I mean, it's just, his ability to go along with literally anything that is said.
It must be fun.
I said, Zach.
Yeah. It's remarkable, isn't it?
It's like, you fuckers don't do it either. Like, let's be
what?
real. No, you guys
I do it constantly.
No, you don't.
What are you talking about?
You never do it. You never do it.
His name is Derek. What do you think Derek is but a yes and?
The sun goes down. Like, what are you talking about?
No, that's all real. That's not. That's why are we acting like this is all a bit? No, what it was. Bobby said, like in the middle of a non sequitur conversation, he says, "Oh, by the way, I have control of the ants," and Santino doesn't miss a beat. He says, "You finally did it."
Yeah, he always agrees and immediately and in a way that isn't just like like he's. Adding to it.
It said you finally, the way there was a marvel in his voice. Mm-hmm. Like this is something that Bobby had been toiling for years and talking about for years. And Santino would be like, you'll never be able to do it. And then finally he did, like, you finally did it. Mm-hmm. I laughed so hard, man. I wish I'd work with people like that, man. I think it would be contagious.
What?
I wish I worked with people like that. I think it would be contagious.
In every line of job that you have other than maybe radio, unless you're doing it with me, you do.
What?
Lebitard's show is nothing but yes and. Mm-hmm. We yes and all the time. Mm-hmm. Me on radio, yes ands all the time.
No. You guys definitely.
What job do you not?
You're no butting this situation.
Exactly. You can't help but no butt.
No, I'm not doing that.
Look at his mouth. Look at his mouth.
Yeah, he's got us moving a video is the worst thing that could have happened for his life.
Yeah, it really exposed.
It really was, man.
It makes me wonder how you get away with it in real life.
Lying. Get away with what?
Lying.
I'm not a good liar.
I know, but you do it all the time.
No, I'm not. No, I don't, because I'm not good at it. I tell the truth. That's why they like me.
I didn't lie, Annie.
I can't do this.
That's why they like me.
I'm gonna tell you right now. Truth be told, I think the biggest thing to impact this podcast negatively was the move to video. We were so much better when it was all blind.
I don't agree.
I definitely agree. No.
No.
Listen to the golden age.
How long we did it without. Not just on this episode, not just on this show, but on everything. And that was a Jade thing.
I got to remember to I still have to remember to cancel whatever pro Skype version I have.
Oh shit! You paid for that shit?
What did I need it for?
What
I don't know. I needed something.
Was.
Yeah.
Skype was a piece
but
of
I
shit.
still have it. I gotta. This is Paramount Plus all over again.
Yeah.
Which Paramount now I'm glad Plus. I have because
at Bar Rescue.
Yeah,
dude. I watched A Quiet Place day one.
Yesterday. I watched it on the plane the other day.
It's funny because it's pretty much the same premise over and over again, but they do a good job of telling.
I like the premise. Story. I like the idea of silence as a major factor in a movie. Like my favorite horror movie ever is The Strangers, because so much of that movie. Now that's different.
You didn't know.
Because so much of that movie is based on there's just a creep in the background that the main characters can't see. And there's silence, and you know, like, okay, there's a murderer right there, but they don't see it, and they don't make a noise, and then they creep away from the shot, and it is so fucking good how you use silence.
Is it like Tango and Cash? They creep in, and then
it's a little bit different. It's just a little bit different.
The quiet. Oh, you wouldn't last in A Quiet Place, Zach.
Me?
You wouldn't last.
I can be as quiet as anybody.
You've never been quiet a day in your life
because I have to talk to you.
Well,
I'm quiet all the time. You're the one that, let me jack this Scottish guy off and bring him into the room so everyone can talk to him. Or whatever you did.
And what happened? You guys all jacked him off and talked to him.
No.
Number one.
Number two, in the corner.
No, you didn't. You
yes,
talked
I
to
did.
Him. You talked to him. You explained that you weren't Scottish. That's talking to him. Well, you know what I did? I did what I would do in A Quiet Place. With him. That's what I would do in A Quiet Place. I would
did
find
share a drink
loud,
with him, though.
Yes, I did. Not share my drink. No.
Yeah, well, no. You guys shared a drink.
He tried to share my drink.
I think he was successful.
No, he wasn't. Trust me. I'm very territorial when it comes to my drinks. But I did what I would do in A Quiet Place. I would find the loud person, and then I would foist him on other people, and then I would leave. That's what I did.
You didn't leave. You were right there the whole time.
Well, it's not A Quiet Place, is it? Also, you have your dog. Your dog won't shut the fuck up at anything.
That's not me making noise.
I mean, are you? So you're sacrificing your dog?
Well, I can't. If he dies because of that, there's nothing I can do about that.
I'm asking you right now. It's A Quiet Place right now.
It is me. I am living.
So that's
whatever that takes. Whatever that takes.
You're punting your dog.
I'm not hunting him.
Like Baxter.
If he barks, then he's going to die. Like that is the premise of The Quiet Place.
So if he barks, what are you running away from him?
What am I supposed to do? Fight the alien that can't die?
Dude, I'm just confirming. Why are you so defensive? I'm asking, if he barks, are you just going to escape?
Yeah.
What if he follows you?
He's pretty lazy. I don't think he will.
Maze, question for you as I watch A Quiet Place, because the main character, Lupita Nyong'o, has a cat. Do cats, if your cat is separated from you, will it recognize you away from your house, like in the wild somewhere? You're like, oh, there goes Maze.
Do you think cats have no senses?
No, I just feel like they don't give a shit. So I don't know do cats like run up to people?
They're withholding. That doesn't mean they don't give a shit.
Run up. Some cats will run up to people, strangers,
in the wild.
Yeah, I mean it. The important thing is it an outdoor cat? If it's an outdoor cat, those things are chill. Like they'll be fine. If it's an indoor cat, they'll freak out and they'll try to hide. they were not prepared for outside living. But if it's an outdoor cat, like those things also own their neighborhoods. Like they do whatever they want.
The cat was very quiet, even when these monsters were all around.
That cat's not realistic.
I'm like, yo,
I feel like a cat would have 100% better chance of surviving in The Quiet Place than a dog.
Of course.
I think a cat would separately, independently.
A dog would bark at the monster within seconds.
Of course.
But the cat never made a sound.
And also, like, as like the characters are carrying the cat, running through things, the cat's not going like just trying to get away. I don't believe that. I feel like cats don't like to be held.
It's possible, man. I mean, is it likely? It's probably not likely, but I believe it.
Maze, what would you do in A Quiet Place? Would you sacrifice the cats, or like Zach, or would you?
It's too tall.
I mean, Quiet Place. I think everybody's dying. Sorry.
No, not everyone's dying. Watch the movies.
I'm not dying.
I know.
You could not shut the fuck up. Are you kidding me?
What are you talking about?
You
guys
see, you already got the smirk.
About.
Already with the smirk.
No, you guys
already with the smirk.
I laugh.
No, you don't laugh at anything. I'm
laughing.
This is,
Zach, to be fair, if Instagram went down, he'd be quiet.
No, because he'd still be looking.
The opposite. If Instagram was up,
you would.
I'd be scrolling, and then I wouldn't know anything. I'd just silently be there, fapping away. No, you guys complain so much about Amin didn't say anything in 40 minutes.
Because we know you're disengaged. You're still talking to other people.
Who am I talking to?
You're just not professional with us.
Who am I talking to? I'm not talking to anybody.
Truman Show, settle down.
Yeah, what are you talking about?
Who am I talking to?
I don't talk.
How long's this intro?
I'm a quiet person by nature. I like my solitude. I like my shows. I be quiet. I stay home. That's all I do. You're the one, Mr. Social. Hey, my bartender knows who I am at the Surly whatever. Da da da.
We started recording 3 hours and 40 minutes ago.
Yeah, it's been a long afternoon.
Been a long afternoon. Right. Let's maybe get the intro going.
Okay.
I don't do intros anymore.
I don't do intros anymore.
I don't
know about the intro.
CT5 Tony Medleys. There we go. These movies that we wish Tony Medley had reviewed but didn't.
I think a better title is Missing Tony Medley Reviews.
CT5
I couldn't come up
Tony
with a concise. Yeah. What about Dream Tony Medleys? How does that sound?
That's fine too. Yeah, Dream Tony Medley.
Fantasy Tony Medley.
Fantasy.
Erotica Tony Medleys.
What Tony kind of porn do you think he watches?
It's
like
real
flappers from the 20s?
It's silent.
No.
You want to talk about a quiet place?
Just a woman doing
Tony
the Charleston with her ankle showing?
This idea is just straight up bad. That algorithm is busted. It's among the worst ideas I've ever heard.
Top 5 easily.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Welcome to Cinephobe Top 5. This is the companion podcast to the Top 10 in the Nation TV and film review podcast, Cinephobe. This is where we take all the things from all the movies that we've watched for Cinephobe and we rank them into multiple fun categories like best deaths and why do I keep doing this?
Don't.
Names, weapons, all types of different things. I don't do the intro anymore. Used to have this scripted out, but
it's an intro. You're still doing an intro.
You never have it scripted out. You go to the spreadsheet and you scroll and you read six categories.
No. I used to have it scripted out. I can show you the script. And Zach said, "Are you reading a script?" And I said, "Yeah, I don't usually do this, but I figured for an intro, I would."
Happen?
And very early on, like episode 2 or 3, you go back and listen to it. But either way, you guys shamed me out of having a script, shamed me out of explaining what this is.
When did we shame you?
What are you talking about?
When did your dad?
No, you got super sensitive one day. We're like, oh, fine, I won't do a fucking intro anymore.
Yes, because you shamed me for being prepared. So
Quiet Place, you're dead.
This is what you get. Oh, why would I be dead? So this is what you do in a quiet place? You'd piss me off?
Absolutely. And run away. The worst thing that could happen to you is you dying with my dog because of me. Oh my
God. No, you know what? Like a fucking Terminator machine, I would not die. I would like crawl out of the wreckage just to make sure that you die too.
Not happening.
Shout out to our listener, Tim, at HVH Tim on Twitter for requesting this topic, which was movies that we wish had a Tony Medley review. And so, Zach, in order to start building my list, I wanted to really get to the core of what makes a quality Tony Medley review. And then I had to stop myself because I realized I was doing a different CT5.
All the makings of a Tony Medley review?
Of a Tony Medley, staples, pillars.
Yeah.
And we all know what they are, so we're not going to talk about them now.
An actor pre-1960.
Sure, that's one of them,
Sure, like a reference to an actor from pre-1960.
Yeah,
the movie itself wouldn't have.
Oh, right, no, yeah, reference. I meant, yeah.
All right, well,
hating the left.
Well, let's not give it all away. Hold on.
Hating the left behind?
Oh.
Well, he loved that one. We do top 5, and we do 2 outside looking ins or OLIs. Zach, get us started. I'll go second. Mayes will go third.
All right. I do have a theme in this one, but this is not the start of that theme. This is one on its own because I do think it would be fascinating to know what he thinks about reality switching sides in a different way, in which a woman has power and sexually harasses a man. I want to see him talking about exercising some primal urges. It's disclosure.
Patriarchal.
This is what I was worried about.
Why are you worried about?
I was worried about this. I think this is we're gonna have a lot of crossover on.
Oh, I think we will too.
I also wanted to know what Tony Medley thought about a certain movie that involved fighting. It involved a franchise. We know that sometimes he's a fan of earlier submissions and not so much others. But also, it's one where we all universally know who the bad guys are. But I'm wondering if Tony Medley thinks that these guys are the bad guys, particularly because they use a certain kind of language to describe one of the protagonists. It's Karate Kid 3.
Oh. Yeah. That is outside looking in for me, but definitely.
Would Tony Medley think that like Terry Silver is like good for capitalism? It's like, hey man, he opened all these businesses, he hired all these people, he got the economy going. Meanwhile,
he wouldn't be happy about the Asian.
No. Well, he wouldn't call him an Asian.
Oh.
Yeah, I wonder what Tony thinks about plutonium. I would love a little comment on that. I wonder, since he lives in Toluca Lake, if he could comment on karate capital of the world, the San Fernando Valley. I'm sure he has some opinions on that. I like that pick.
Absolutely.
My OLI is straight to the point. I want Tony Medley's thoughts on one particular topic, and that is Scientology. I need to know what Tony Medley would say about Battlefield Earth.
I forgot that it was about Scientology.
Yeah.
It was on my outside looking in because I thought he'd like it because the military still makes one last stand.
Yeah, he'd make a Fort Knox reference as well. Yeah. He'd be pleased to see that Fort Knox.
He loves to thank the troops for their service.
He'd probably thank the president that built Fort Knox.
Yeah. Tell us a fun anecdote about visiting Fort Knox and asking a lovely blonde next to him if she knew.
I leaned over to the cyclo in the front row and asked, hey, have you ever had leverage? A woman?
Would you like some?
With leverage?
All right, my next OLI. I think this would be a great opportunity for Tony Medley to talk about people like Rocky Marciano, Jack Dempsey, all the great white boxers of the past who had to kind of give way to a different kind of boxer. Of course, I want him to review Great White Hype.
Oh, dude, I really thought you were building towards Teen Wolf 2. Well done, Zach.
Yes.
When you start talking about boxing, we got a lot of options, honestly.
Got a lot of options there, yeah.
Could have been some other ones in there, but yeah.
Yeah. I think him thinking Irish Terry Conklin got a raw deal is a staple
he would have
there.
Loved Samuel L. Jackson's performance.
Oh my God. Yeah.
My other OLI, look, Zach alluded to it. Tony Medley makes no bones about his politics. He's very, very, very right wing, right?
Yes.
He makes constant references to Obama being awful and, about
the leftist
media.
elite in the Hollywood.
Especially in Hollywood. So given that knowledge of Tony Medley and how he thinks, Zach, how would you say Tony Medley thinks of homosexuality?
I can't imagine he's a fan.
Well, do you think he thinks it's something you're born with or a choice?
Oh, no, he's definitely going to guess that it's a choice.
Maybe it's Maybelline.
Homophobia.
He'd love this movie because it confirms his thought
starting
that
to
it's a
pop
choice.
up all the time, man.
It's Geely.
Also outside looking in. Same thought too.
Yeah, he hates Ben Affleck too. I was looking.
Oh,
into
he
that a
really,
little
yeah,
bit.
he does
really
hate Ben
doesn't
Affleck,
like Ben
yeah.
Affleck.
Something tells me he'd really like Jennifer Lopez, though.
I'm sure he would, and I'm sure he'd ask everyone in the audience about.
He'd probably talk about, like, for some reason he would think like Justin Bartha is like should have been the next Jimmy Stewart.
Whoa. Easy, Zach.
I think
I'm
he'd
just
also
guessing. I'm just guessing.
he'd also ask why Al Pacino would ever be involved in such a film, and like he'd just go on and on about like, well, Al Pacino, you have such great, like it's funny how he feels let down.
Yes.
Certain people do let him down. Yeah,
he's not mad. He's just disappointed.
Yeah.
Certain people, he goes to see their movie knowing that he's going to fucking hate it.
He can't wait to shit on their movie.
Eager to rip it apart. All right, my other OLI. I don't think this movie had a traditional release, so I don't think Tony would have found his way to go see it. But I do love when Tony sees the plot of a movie and says, "Oh, I've seen this. We've done this before." And that's why he would compare this movie to 1940s Gambling on the High Seas, starring Wayne Morris and Jane Wyman. And I'm talking, of course, about Money Plane.
Oh my God.
You want me to read the description of Gambling on the High Seas to you guys?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Gambling boss Greg Morella runs a crooked ship. All the gambling tables on his floating casino were rigged. Because the ship operates outside of the 3-mile state limit, the authorities can't get the evidence they need to convict Morella. Roving reporter Jim Carver thinks he can get the goods on the kingpin. He enlists Morella's secretary, Lori, to help him secure evidence of the fixed games, as well as proof that Morella murdered his partner, Max Gates.
He'd love that shit. Yeah. Number 5 on movies we wish Tony Medley had reviewed. Don't need a preamble. I think it's pretty obvious that this is something that I need his thoughts on, that we all need his thoughts on. Boys, it's The Toy.
Oh my God. I don't need his thoughts on that. I don't.
He would have found a charming tale.
A romping tale of humor and sophistication.
Like Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
Yes, he would have absolutely loved that movie.
10 out of 10?
I think he'd go 9 out of 10 because he wouldn't like how
he'd have something bad
Richard
to say
Pryor
about Richard
succeeds
Pryor.
at the end. Yeah, for sure.
Richard Pryor speaking too. He's a little too uppity. Zach, mine is along the same lines as that. I want to know how Tony Medley would think about people hunting other people for sport, particularly a black man surviving the game.
OOLI, yeah. OOLI, heavily considered.
Do you think Tony
considered.
Medley is an NRA member?
I think he's a 3-time member. I think he's got 3 different identities. Like I think he's got Anthony Medley, Tony Medley, and Tony Medley spelled differently.
And H Medley.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. He could have been Rucker Hauer in that movie.
Oh my God, he could have been any of them.
Yeah.
He could have been F. Murray Abraham. Absolutely.
Oh yeah, F. Murray Abraham. Yeah.
Sure.
My number 5, kind of like Zach, this is a movie that I don't think he would have picked up on the message that they're trying to give by the plot of the movie. He would have bought in. He would have bought into the premise. He would have bought in to the illusion that the movie was accurate. He wouldn't have seen an issue with it. It's got the right blend of patriarchy and horniness for him. It's Don't Worry, Darling.
Oh shit.
Yes. How did he not review
How
that?
did he not review it? He slowed down in 2022. We have to assume he had COVID for like 3 years.
That's your number 5?
Wow.
Yeah, I got some more heaters coming up.
That might be the perfect balance.
Is a good one.
Yeah. It's a good one for sure.
And another reason that it's good is because he also really likes Olivia Cockburn. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
So here's a couple excerpts of his reviews for Cockburn movies from Richard Jewell. The most captivating performance is by Olivia Cockburn as the sexy reporter Kathy Scruggs, who will do anything for a story, parentheses, hashtag me too be damned. She is as sexy in this film.
Hashtag me too be damned.
He's staring right down into the eye of the beast, Zach, and saying,
she is as sexy in this film as any actress I've ever seen, and she never comes close to taking off her clothes.
yeah, dude, she's not going for sexy in that movie. I don't know if you guys see Richard Jewell.
I've
She's
not,
not
no.
going for sexy at all.
Well,
She's
I'm not-
just
Tony
It's
Medley
'cause he has a
disagrees.
history with her, okay? Because now we're going to the movie Third Person. Olivia Cockburn makes up for it when she sheds her clothes rather than tears and runs naked through her hotel in
Oh,
Paris.
so now he's in. Okay, now he's in. All right.
Parentheses, which she laughingly says she thinks she should do on all her pictures because, quote, it's a real icebreaker with the crew in the first week. Once you do that, nothing else is intimidating. And finally, from the movie Rush, Olivia Cockburn is so sexy and beautiful that it doesn't strain anybody's credulity to believe that she went on to be one of Richard Burton's lovers. Yeah.
Who the
Yeah.
fuck is Richard Burton?
What?
I think he's talking about the character that she played in Rush.
No, Richard Burton is a Welsh actor.
No, I'm aware. He's famous for having many, I think Elizabeth Taylor, but also many
Yeah.
Hollywood starlets. But like, I guess Rush was
God.
set in the 60s or something like that.
Got you. Yeah, because
But
Richard
yeah,
Burton
he
died
fucking
in
loves
1980.
Olivia Cockburn, dude.
Jesus Christ.
What's not to love?
The number of searches that I did for this movie that was Tony Medley plus actor, Tony Medley plus blank, just to see if I could get a hit. Oh man,
Tony
Suspicion.
Medley plus Grand Wizard.
I did Tony Medley plus Scientology,
Oh, shit.
hoping it didn't get anything. Unfortunately,
Oh, they
Zach,
scrubbed it
your
off the
number
internet.
4.
My number 4, I want to see, because I love it when he tries to twist things into not being the way they should, right? We've seen that in plenty of reviews where there's an obvious hero and he's like, I don't know if this is the hero. I don't know if these are the bad guys, whatever. And so I want to see how he finds a way to flip the hero into the villain and the villain into the hero. And of course, I'm talking about Craig T. Nelson and Carl Weathers. I want to have him review Action Jackson.
Now, so that was on my cutting room floor,
Yeah.
and I asked the question, would he watch that movie, even though we know he is very pro-police, pro-law enforcement?
Right.
Would he watch
But not
that
a-
movie?
But not a black cop.
Would he watch that movie and say, well, Craig T. Nelson has a point because the police are overreaching? Kind of like how people who
100%.
were very pro-law enforcement were very anti-law enforcement on January 6th.
Yeah.
Like, well, these guys are preventing us from our First Amendment rights and all.
He would do the mental gymnastics for sure. And he would also be furious that Sharon Stone is interested
Yeah.
in Action Jackson.
Well, Zach, oh yeah, for sure. Oh yeah, that would
Yeah.
the least realistic part of this film was why Sharon Stone would ever want to be with Zach. My number 4, you already said it, but it is that same dynamic of trying to see him try to wrap his mind around the concept of a woman being in charge,
a woman.
and being in charge, and then hitting the main character with sexual harassment.
Yeah.
And then seeing the world not believe the male, and then trying to connect that story to his actual real life.
Yeah.
That's, I would love to see, because you know he's going to bring it back
100%.
to something that happened to him. Hashtag me too be damned. It's disclosure.
Hashtag Me Too Be Damned is fucking incredible and somehow needs to be an award. Like we gotta immediately find a way for that to be an award. The Tony Medley hashtag Me Too Be Damned award goes to
Amin in every episode.
goes to me in every episode. But I actually want him to review these movies with today's knowledge of history and everything. Like I want
650
him,
years of knowledge.
yes, because I want him to he would shit on the whole execution and concept of Me Too being like, oh, I bet they wouldn't do that with a man being Me Too'd. Like he would absolutely do that.
All right, my number 4. So Tony Medley has written 4 books, I believe, maybe more. The Complete Idiot's Guide to Bridge, Learn to Play Bridge Like a Boss. Unfortunately, he's not talking about the downtown LA bridge. He's talking about the card game. Sweaty Palms, The Neglected Art of Being Interviewed, which is also why his website is sweatypalms.net. But his last book is UCLA Basketball, The Real Story. Okay. Mm-hmm. And that's why my number 4 is Heart Condition. Because I want a 2-paragraph tangent on Kurt Rambis's impact on the Lakers. Wow. That's all I want. I want Tony Medley breaking down Kurt Rambis.
I thought you were going with that.
He's an LA guy. He loves hoops. He's a UCLA fan, but he's got to be a Lakers fan. He would know. Yeah. Also, tack on everything else ridiculous that happens in that movie. I'm sure he'd have a lot of thoughts, but specifically the Rambis effect.
100%. 100%. All right, my number 3. I just got to know. I have a feeling I know what he thinks about both of these groups of people. But when there's a crossover and there's a confusion over if one person is a certain group or the other group, I need this dude to review Homie Spumoni.
Oh.
What was the meme? I thought Amin was reaching for a tool.
No. She's reaching for my water. I thought Zach was going to go with Soul Man.
Cutting room floor. Didn't quite make it.
Yeah. I mean, once again, not a movie that would have made it to the movie theater. So I don't know. He wouldn't have been able to go to his critic screening. Yeah, that would be an interesting one for sure.
Yeah.
He'd be confused.
He would not be happy. He would love Officer, what's his name?
Stovepipe?
Yeah.
Yep. I didn't say it.
Yep. Well. Yep.
Yep.
So we've kind of alluded to it. We've danced around it, but I need to know what Tony Medley thinks about when reality switches sides. My feeling is that he would absolutely miss the entire point of the movie, which even though the movie's clunkily done, it was trying to make a point. Like, hey, if we made the white people black and the black people white in like the hierarchy of society, like, look, how would you still feel the same way you do about, race relations right now? And Tony Medley would miss the point. He would just like bitch about how the white people are being oppressed and absolutely buy into like, this is all bullshit, this is awful, and not ever make the societal connection. It's white man's burden.
You unbelievable, man.
He'd love Travolta.
He would fucking love Travolta in that movie.
Accuracy of
even
his speech patterns.
I leaned over to the woman in the front row and I said, yeah, I'm horny too, baby. Hashtag me too be damned.
Oh, shit.
All right. My number 3. You guys both had it. It's Disclosure. We need a real horny Tony Medley on this list.
Yeah, he'd be super horny for Demi.
Extremely horny movie. You wouldn't see the problem with Demi Moore. You'd be like, that's great. And he's a Michael Douglas fan, but he also doesn't buy him as a romantic lead. And so, I mean, this is an older one. Like, it's older Michael Douglas. It's not virile sex thriller Michael Douglas from the 80s and 90s. No, not Disclosure, the movie that I'm about to read the review of.
Oh, gotcha.
And So It Goes, which is a movie from, I want to say, 2014 with him and Diane Keaton. The most humorous parts and the most realistic are the romantic attempts between Douglas and Keaton. Both have lost lifelong spouses and are reluctant and uncomfortable in a dating situation that necessarily involves the issue of sex. This is not Cary Grant romancing Deborah Kerr in An Affair to Remember, 1957, or Burt Lancaster after Deborah Kerr in From Here to Eternity, 1953.
Do you think Tony Medley, if he were alive and reviewing movies in the 50s, would bitch about how they're not like Buster Keaton and Charlie Chaplin? And
it would be like this, these talkies.
He'd be talking about plays.
They're missing the point.
He'd be talking about, Shakespeare and shit.
Shakespeare,
whatever he can do to make you seem like you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. He'd be doing
like you don't understand the history of entertainment.
You guys remember when we wanted to have Tony Medley as a guest?
I still do.
Wanted to. Once.
I mean, I would give up my seat. I would have him argue with you three and me not be a part of it. I would.
The fuck are you counting?
Oh, I must.
You, me, and Boogie. This is a quiet place again.
Me, you, and the NSA.
Number 2 for me has been mentioned already, but I want it for a different reason. I want it because I want to see him combat the idea that a man can be thrown so many racial slurs that he has a heart attack. It's heart condition. Yeah. If anything, he'd be like, this would empower me.
Yeah, he's charging up like Superman and Earth's son.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah, he wouldn't believe that part of it.
He's like the professor in How High.
He'd be so offended at the. He would be so offended at the bowling alley. He'd be so offended at the dildo.
He'd be offended by the hooker who loves Denzel and has a baby by him.
Yes,
every
absolutely.
Single element of it, for sure.
Yes, but I need that. I need that hatred to flow through him, but in a way where you can tell he's trying to be measured.
And yet, Zaxi, I thought the same thing. It's on my cutting room floor. I thought the same thing. And yet, I think Mayes hit the nail on the head. The best part would be him.
It's a great part. Yes, it's a great aspect.
This crazy explanation about how Bob Hoskins is actually right.
Yeah, but again, we would have it where not just for that, but like Bob Hoskins is a reporter in is a detective in 1980s LA, and these type of people weren't lawyers back then, and blah blah blah.
No, he'd also point out that Bob Hoskins was right. He did have drugs on him.
Absolutely.
And the Ronald McDonald,
he may have had some rough edges around getting to justice, but he was still right in the name of justice.
A theme that we've been hinting at, dancing with, holding hands with, flirting with, but not fully diving into, I don't think, is how horny Tony Medley.
Oh, yeah.
Olivia Cockburn aside, he's horny. And he loves nothing. So is Zach. Look out.
Fucking face.
Zach.
God damn it.
I don't know what to tell you. We had 3 fucking hours where it was fine.
Oh, God.
Keep going.
Tony is horny. And no movie we've done is probably hornier for the sake of horniness than Showgirls.
Yep. It was on my
cutting room floor. Yeah.
I just want to hear him describe in very descriptive detail all the nudity, all the sex that this movie is selling.
I think he would start he would harken back to the days of burlesque.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. And
he'd shit on the movie. Don't get me wrong.
I think he'd be like, sexiness used to be blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. But he'd jerk off all the way.
For sure. Oh, of course he would. Of course he would. Yeah.
Maybe there's not enough bridge in Vegas though, to keep his attention. He'd be a little distracted.
Mm-hmm.
My number 2, it's been mentioned, and I feel like it's got to be Zach's number 1. It's White Man's Burden. His head would fucking explode.
It is my number 1, and I think that you guys, and I thought it was gonna be everyone's number 1. That's insane.
Yeah. There's one that's.
I got one. I got one too, but it's a no-brainer. This would break him in half.
He wouldn't. You guys are talking about he'd try to conflate the message. No, he would outright refute it. He would not
he'd say, that's not how it is.
He would say, this is what they think society is. He would absolutely roast the idea that there is any credibility to any of this. It's not that he would miss the message. He would get it completely and fight it till his death.
Right.
Message.
My number one.
It would be a crazy fucking review. Like I think it would probably be a 0.
Of course, it would be a 0.
Yeah.
On sheer premise alone, right? He would reject the premise that this would even be considered.
He would blame woke. He would blame George Floyd. He'd blame it all.
He goes, Tony Medley reviewing this movie in the mid-90s would blame.
No, I've got him reviewing these retroactively now. Yeah, I've got today's knowledge.
He never does that, right? He
doesn't go back. No.
He never goes back.
If he doesn't get to
He's
a
Jack
screener.
Living in the 60s. My number one. Is that you? Are you throwing a thumb up?
I'm hitchhiking.
Yeah.
In the words of Zach, you're too tall to hitchhike. My number one is, even though Showgirls was the horniest movie, I believe that there's a movie that captures everything that Tony Medley loves. Gratuitous? You betcha. A meta conversation about Hollywood?
Okay.
Start the movie there. References to directors that he likes from back in the day. A leading man who he really, really likes and respects in John Travolta. And a protagonist in Hugh Jackman, also an actor that he loves.
Music Man.
Swordfish. Swordfish is he's jerking off right there in the theater, giving that a 9 or 10 out of 10.
Absolutely.
That's a good call. I didn't even think of that, honestly.
Yeah.
But that is great. The opening monologue sounds like kind of the inverse of a Tony Medley review. Like if Tony Medley wrote Swordfish, he'd be praising Dog Day Afternoon.
Yes, he'd be praising Dog Day Afternoon, but he would also still be shitting on Hollywood the way that
he would just have different examples.
Travolta does, yeah.
But the same message.
Hollywood today, we make shit. Hollywood didn't used to make shit. We used to make movies like Dog Day Afternoon. Yeah.
Dog Day Afternoon. Yeah.
He would lean over to the young woman next to him in the theater during the hacking scene and be like, I should have brought my laptop.
And he'd say that in his review. The funny thing is,
she thought it was funny.
Boner.
All right. Well, my number one, there's a couple things that we haven't addressed that are Tony Medley staples, and that's why this propels this to the top. So he's a huge Time Warp movie fan. That is actually how we found out about Tony Medley, was the movie Next and his love of time warps. So he'll be thrilled by the premise of this movie. Time warps abound. Also very important to him is that Middle Eastern terrorists are the bad guys. He has to.
He needs that.
He can't have Russians or Europeans or anybody in the Taken franchise. Like, he needs his bad guys Middle Eastern. Also, I think he'd have an interesting opinion on this political ideology that comes out of Ron Silver in Time Cop. When he says elections are won with television, you don't need the press, you don't need endorsements, you don't even need the truth, you need money.
Money.
And also, I'm curious to hear what he thinks about Van Damme. I'm sure he hates him.
Oh, there's no way he likes Van Damme. Yeah.
No, would he agree with Ron Silver's character? Would he disagree?
Was Ron Silver Republican?
Well, I mean, he's like billionaires.
You need money.
Went back in time. Yeah.
If he's Republican, he'll agree with him.
All right.
Yeah.
I think that incorporates a lot of the elements of what Tony is after.
Yeah,
in a movie.
That's a great call. That's a great call. I should have had that on my list.
I think he'd give it a good grade.
Yeah. Yeah, I think he would just hate Van Damme, but he would still like the movie. Cutting room floor. I don't know, like, because he likes Travolta, but I don't know how he would feel about this movie. I want to see what he thinks about Movie Pass. Gotti.
Yeah.
I had the Fanatic.
I had I Am Rap.
Yeah, the triple Travolta right there for you.
Yeah.
All right, I had Poison Rose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you think, Tony?
I think he likes all those movies.
I want to read the Tony Medley Tiptoes review.
Oh, my God.
Also on my list. Absolutely.
It didn't make it didn't feel like he would bring anything special to it, but it's an absurd movie, and I want to hear what he says.
He would have to.
A Tony Medley staple is to hate the movie, hate the couple of the main characters, main actors, but then to make exceptions for the young starlets that he likes because he's horny.
Yeah.
Mike and Dave need wedding dates.
Oh, he would love Anna Kendrick.
He would absolutely hate Adam Devine.
Yes.
For sure.
Yeah.
And
he might like Zac Efron because of the musical aspect of it, you know?
Maybe. But then he'd say he's throwing away his talent on a movie like this. And then he'd really question Aubrey Plaza.
He would hate her.
You would hate Aubrey Plaza?
I think he'd be a huge Anna Kendrick fan.
Oh, yes, he is definitely an Anna Kendrick fan.
Yeah.
Now I wish I did what Mayes did, which is the Tony Medley Anna Kendrick.
You can do it. I mean, it might pop up. I'm sure, anything Freaky Friday adjacent, anything with Freaky Friday energy, he's all about it. So I'm sure he'd love it. He'd love the hairdryer fax machine and timeline. He would fucking go ape shit for that. This was the toughest cut for me.
Yeah, Time Warp. Yeah, you're right.
And then there was also in the Into the Blue review, future Cinephobe, by the way, he was praising Dummel Walker's performance.
Really?
So he's a Dummel Walker guy. He also likes Gerard Butler. So he'd be all about timeline.
Yeah. Battlefield Earth isn't the only Scientology movie he could have done.
Wait, there's another one?
There are some vibes. There are some accusations that After Earth is also a Scientology movie.
Oh, yes, absolutely. Absolutely. But it's a Scientology one where the people surviving on Earth are black. So
he'd also have a problem with that. Yeah.
Have a problem with that. Speaking with having a problem with black people, and specifically Will Smith, Wild Wild West. I know he'd love the horniness of like.
He'd love the horniness.
Salma Hayek. He'd absolutely go nuts.
He loves trains.
Klein.
Yeah.
He loves Kevin Kline for sure.
He'd love Loveless.
Yeah, he'd be pro Loveless.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's Kenneth Branagh. Like
anti Lincoln.
That's
yeah, he does some Lincoln takes. That's for sure.
Another one I have here. Speaking of, loving to hate black people. I don't know this for a fact. I'm fairly sure he hates LeBron.
Oh, there's no way.
Space Jam: A New Legacy. Would definitely.
You want him to sit through that? Okay.
Yes. But I like it because I know he wouldn't critique the movie. He would just point out ways that LeBron isn't so good.
Isn't Bobby Jones?
Yes, or whatever.
I think he'd like a gnome named Norm.
Well, it's horny, man. He would like the horniness of it. He'd like the horniness for sure. Yeah,
I think he'd like it.
Yeah. I gotta know what he thinks of Rocky IV.
Yep.
Apollo had it coming.
Yeah, I think he would be like, finally, we got that jive talking Apollo Creed out of here.
The true hero, Rocky, is able to defeat Russia. Although he would have wished that it was Saudi Arabia boxer.
Yes, he would have hoped that it was. Yeah, it was an Arab fighter. Yeah.
Why isn't he from Yemen? Another Tony Medley staple is to be incredibly angry at clearly like fantastic fictional things.
Yeah.
Like things that are not happening in real life, he takes great offense to. So I really want to know what his opinion would be on the Leah Thompson, Howard the Duck, like sex scene thing.
Yes.
Because I know he'd be furious about it.
He would not be happy with it.
I'm done. I
want to punish him, so I want him to have to watch Soul Plane and review it.
Yep. Zach. So Soul Plane, What Men Want, Heart Condition, and Carbon Copy. I threw them all into this one pile of like just fucking blow his mind.
Yeah.
Put a black man's heart in a white man. Put black people in charge of an airline. Let a black woman be able to read his thoughts.
Yeah.
And then the Carbon Copy. You can tell a white man he's actually got a black son. All of these things would just make his brain
Carbon
explode.
Copy might hit too close to home.
I'll throw another one into that category. It's not quite the same, but a couple of black cops ruining Miami. Bad Boys 2.
Yeah.
I have.
Wait, he'd
We
hate
mentioned
Bad
Soul
Boys
Man.
2. Hold on. He'd hate Bad Boys 2, but then he'd turn around in the very next breath, praise Tango and Cash for doing whatever it takes to stop crime.
Yeah, you have to. Cobra too. I look. I don't know what he would say. I wonder what references he would make. I know he'd hate it, but I got to see him talk about Ed.
Yeah, MVP.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Not MVP. I just want Ed. I just want Ed.
Just your boy.
Yeah. Amos and Andrew.
I put that on my. I could not figure what the angle would be.
The
I know
angle?
it would be funny. No, I know it would be funny, but I'm just.
I think he would also hate the liberal couple as much as we did. Somehow.
Remember, like
yeah.
she gets off on like he was in the whatever.
He'd mock them
7 or
for
whatever,
their dildo drawer and their sex grease
for sure.
He'd spend 15 minutes explaining the Desert Fox.
Oh fuck yeah! The little World War II knowledge. He absolutely would spend a couple paragraphs on that. How do you think he would react to The Pest?
He wouldn't like it. Yeah, he wouldn't. I don't think he finishes The Pest. I barely did.
You want to talk about movies that he won't finish because he'll be distracted? Barbed Wire.
Oh, same.
He's not making
I get
it out
it
of the
though.
opening scene.
Let's not disparage anybody about that. That's understandable.
He'd try to lean over to the woman in the front row, but he'd realize it's all dudes jacking it.
I would love to see him attack. Hey, Tony. I would like to.
Tony, good to see you again.
I would like to see him. This is my last one because we mentioned Soul Man, right? Yeah. My last one. I would just love to see his take on their take of college athletics. So I'm saying both Blue Chips and Johnny Be Good.
Yeah. He'd be pro. He'd be
so happy that Bob Cousy shows up.
Oh man, yeah.
He'd be so happy.
He'd be pro who?
Happy from Blue Chips.
No way.
He gave black guys money.
Oh, okay, never mind. Sorry.
He would say the sanctity
I recant.
Yeah.
Yeah. Coach K did it the right way. John Wooden did it the right way. Dean Smith did it the right way.
Movie he would hate the most.
I don't like that John Thompson.
Movie he would hate the most. Jack and Jill.
I'm with him on that one too.
2 Sandlers.
Yeah, 2 Sandlers is too many.
Lady Sandler.
But he talk about why Al Pacino. How could you? What? Like he's so confused. It's not even that he's disappointed. He's confused. Like what? Why would Al Pacino do this? It's like
he'd give a 2-paragraph explainer about like the first time he tried Dunkin' Donuts.
Mm-hmm. Yep. How it used to be better. How it used to be better 40 years ago.
At Talk Hoops. Being good when Ben Affleck became a poster child for it.
At Darth Amin, at Corn Puzzle, at Cinephobe Pod, at Count the Dings. You send us your CT5 lists and suggestions, or drop in that Discord by subscribing to the Patreon, patreon.com/Count the Dings.
Next time we make love, you introduce me to Jade.